So back to where we were pulling the drug, right? I searched for Versed. Why did that system allow me to pull anything else other than the word Versed? And I know it wasn't an accident. I know it wasn't accidentally vecuronium in the pocket, because guess what's on her MAR? Electronically stamped on there, communicated from the dispensing cabinet to eStar, an override for vecuronium by me from that machine at 2:59 and 49 seconds. Okay. How come when I selected vecuronium, there was no warning on the screen about pulling a paralytic drug? Where was that warning? It wasn't there. All right. And then the last thing, here's the kicker. You want to know why the drug wasn't there? You want to know why it wasn't under her profile drugs or her drugs that, when I searched Versed under the override? It wasn't because I was just looking at brand versus generic. It's because the start time for the order was 3 o'clock. 2:49, pharmacy approves and verifies the drug for the patient. Pharmacy believes at that point, when they approve and verify it, it is sent through, regardless of what the start time is, because I brought this up in my Board of Nursing hearing in 2021, and the pharmacist is like, no, when we approve and verify it, it's sent through. Well, it isn't. As a fail-safe, this system was set up to operate when they implemented it. As a fail-safe, or a safety precaution, when a drug is approved and verified by pharmacy on the patient's listed drugs, profiled drugs, it's removed from the override list.
Oh my God.
It's profiled. Pull it over here, silly.
Oh my
Here's the
God.
order. So at 2:49, the drug was removed from the list of override drugs, and the start time was 3 o'clock, which meant it was stuck in holding before it was ever going to display as a started available medication for the first time until 3 o'clock. And I pulled this drug 11 seconds before 3 o'clock. But there was an 11-minute window where this drug was not available for the patient. Now, I want you to multiply that. Take that little factor of the percentage that this could have happened, all of these little things that add up. And I want you to think about the fact that this was almost 7 or 8 weeks after we'd implemented eStar. Epic and Star Browser get together in the back room and they make a baby and they call it eStar. Whoever makes software, whoever sexy time with software coding, and a baby pops out. You have Star Browser, proprietary software from Vanderbilt. You have Epic, whoever Epic is. And then they're like, hey, I have a great idea. Let's put two totally different things together and make a baby and call it eStar. That's what you're going to get here. Not fully probably understanding all of the complexities that were going to be involved in adding two very different systems together. Okay. So this happens early November. It is now end of December. That facility has over 1,000 inpatient beds. You got Children's Hospital, you got the psych hospital, you have all the inpatient beds in the main hospital, you have an ER that who knows how many people go through there. Imagine the number of times that someone went to pull a medication. Imagine the number of times that this was a potentially fatal thing that could have happened. Okay? And I don't know how else to summarize it up but that. And then I don't know at what point they figured this out, but 11 more months went by and there weren't even any changes.
That's gross negligence. That is gross negligence. That's unreal to me. And how is Vanderbilt not held, grossly negligent for that stuff? But RaDonda
Maybe
Vaught's
they feel
left
like
holding the bag.
the reputation suffered enough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Everyone knew. Charge nurse knows, nurse knows. I left my orientee with the charge nurse. I went to my nurse educator's office. She was there that day and, you know, had the conversations over the phone with my manager, with risk management, with the associate nurse officer who's over all of our neuro stuff, filled out the incident report. That was several hours that I was there, submitted that, eventually left for the evening. Had 7 days off, scheduled 7 days off. I had worked my 3 in a row. I worked over Christmas. I had New Year's off. My nieces were going to come visit me. was scheduled to go back to work on the 4th of January, got a phone call on the 2nd of January to come in on the 3rd for a meeting, and that's when I was terminated. Marcia did all the talking. That was the associate nurse officer, the same one I had spoken to the day of the event on the phone. She said, we're letting you go. It is not because of the outcome, which to be very clear about that. It is not because of the outcome of the patient. It is not because the patient died. It is because you failed to follow the medication administration policy. So, and that's a reportable offense. And, as a result of this, you will also be reported to the Board of Nursing. So this termination letter will serve as, you being reported. You will get a copy, and a copy will be sent of this exact same letter to the Board of Nursing. And you'll notice it's written in a very benign way. Benign, that was her words. Written in a very benign way. It says a serious safety event occurred. I didn't follow the medication administration policy. I'm terminated and eligible for rehire. I was told that you are free to go work.
Who tells you this?
The associate nurse the person who fired me. You're free to go work. You're free to go find a job somewhere else, just not here and not ever again. You are ineligible for rehire at any Vanderbilt facility. Yeah, so you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Basically, what I take away from that now is you can just go be somebody else's problem.
Did you sign anything? Did you actually come in? Did she have you sign anything? Like,
I
as
don't
in,
think I signed, I don't know if I signed anything or not. I just know I left with a copy of that, with a copy of that letter in an envelope. You are free to work. Just very clear. You will continue to work. You can go find work somewhere. Um, until you hear from the Board of Nursing, you just keep doing what you're doing. And that will probably be several months before you hear from them. Now, how she knew that, I don't know. I don't know. Part of me wonders if, the letter wasn't actually sent to the Board of Nursing until sometime in March. That was the same month that the facility entered into
right.
an agreement with the family, which I'm assuming comes, with a non-disclosure agreement for them. But to the best of my knowledge, the only paper trail I can find as far as that first investigation that stemmed from that letter with the Board of Nursing is that it was received by someone in March.
And you never received an allegation from the first complaint that's sent to the Board
No,
of Nursing?
it was August of that year, fired in January, the beginning of January, and it was late August before I ever even heard anything from the Board of Nursing. Late August. And then after a 2-hour interview where I answered all of her questions and told her very transparently what happened, recorded in their office, she says, this is very obviously an isolated event. She'd already talked to my manager and a couple of other people at Vanderbilt. I know because my manager had texted me, hey, Board of Nursing investigators were here today.
Are they nurses that are interviewing you?
I think this was a nurse. Yeah, this was a nurse. So she says, you're going to be at the bottom of the stack. Like, this is an isolated event. This is clearly an accident. This was not intentional. You were very transparent. Like, there's no immediate threat. I got a letter 2 months later, a certified letter in the mail, mind you, with my name butchered. Ramfonda is how they addressed it. My name is horribly misspelled. The irony. This is, what did they say? Thank you for your cooperation. I'm sure you understand we have a duty to, thoroughly investigate every complaint because of the nature of safety in our job to protect the public, yada, yada, yada. We have decided, it says that the general counsel for the Office of Investigations that falls
So
under
the attorney.
the attorney for the investigating office within the Department of Health, along with a representative from the Board of Nursing, have reviewed the file reviewed the investigation, reviewed the complaint, whatever the verbiage they used was. They've reviewed and they have decided collectively that no action will be taken against my license and no record of it will appear on my license or file. Consider this matter resolved. Thank you. Have a nice day.
So date that again for us. When is this?
Late October. I want to say the 23rd or the 25th of 2018. For the first almost year, no one knew. But actually, until I was arrested, which was February of 2019, and this happened
That's a
late
true
December of
story.
2017,
Wow.
people didn't
Yeah.
know. So only the people that I chose to tell knew what was happening. People close to me, my family, a couple of people that were close knew, but the majority of people, the general public didn't know. It wasn't until I was arrested and things were public that, people knew. And I tell this to other nurses that have reached out to me. Tell people what's going on. Tell people what is going on around you. Okay. They need to know, because to hear someone talk about this all at once from an outside perspective, like the news does when a nurse gets arrested for accidentally giving the wrong drug to a patient and killing them, what's your first thought? It's hard to believe, this is too much, that's crazy, right? You need to be letting the people around you that are going to be there to support you, let them know what's happening. They need to have a basic understanding of what's happening so that they can be there to support you, so that they can watch for the differences. Because trust me, they'll notice that something is wrong with you. All of these nurses that have reached out to me that I have talked to over the years, we talk about this, and they're like, yeah, they know something's wrong. They just don't know what. You are not okay.
Right.
You tell yourself you're okay. You look in the mirror and you're like, I got to pull it together. Some people cry and cry and cry. Some people just like, you know, you try to disassociate and become a human robot. Um, you know, Neither of those things are healthy, and I did both, and it was very hard. I never had thoughts of harming myself, but there were certainly days when I was like, I don't even deserve to be here. I don't deserve to be here. I, I don't deserve to take a shower. I mean, when I tell you the weeks that I did not shower, wash clothes, wash my hair, like I did not take care of myself. Um, and I spent a lot of that alone because my husband was working out of the country. We don't have kids, so it's just me here. It was difficult. Once it was public and people knew what was happening, then it was a lot easier for them to offer up help. And the other thing that I did was, I talked to my nurse practitioner and I was like, I can't stop crying.
Like your provider, like she was your
Yeah,
provider. Yeah.
my provider. I can't stop crying. Like I don't know what to do, with myself. I just know that I can't function like this. Something has to give. I need help. So I started an antidepressant, and that helped. A lot of people think like, oh, that's just, that's for someone who's weak-minded. No, mental health is, you know,
Real.
your brain is a part of the body, people.
Yeah,
Okay? Like,
exactly.
if your sugar's all jacked up and you need to take some medication,
Tell it.
take it. If you have high blood pressure and you need to take some medicine for that, take it. Like, if there are other things, right? You want to like lose weight, watch your sodium intake, watch what you're eating. Those are other things you can do to help with, heart problems, diabetes, pre-diabetes, whatever. Same with your mental health, right? But if you need to take a medication, that is okay. And it's also none of anyone else's business. It is between you and your practitioner.
There it is.
Are you going to do that for yourself? I'm going to tell you what, the Board of Nursing had a responsibility before they ever even cleared me the first time. They had a responsibility to make sure that I was at minimum fit to practice after having accidentally killed a